This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. You chose to hit play on this podcast today. Smart choice. Make another smart choice with Auto Quote Explorer to compare rates from multiple car insurance companies all at once. Try it at progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
Regen auf mein Kopf. Hinter der Deckelbus ist die kleine Fahrt beim Top. Geht mir kein Sach nicht, die Tropfen von Regen.
Hey everyone, welcome to Kill Me Now with Judy Gold. I'm your host, Judy Gold, and this week we have part one of my interview. It couldn't be better timing. My interview with Tristan Snell, who wrote the book Taking Down Trump, 12 Rules for Prosecuting Donald Trump by Someone Who Did It Successfully. And it's a fantastic conversation and really fascinating. And you'll find out why he seems to get away with everything, even though, this week, I'm recording this Sunday night, so I don't know what happened at the trial yesterday, but I know he can't talk, so that's one positive thing. Anyway, wanted to let you know that I just added a date to my calendar. May, the first weekend of May 3rd and 4th, I'm going to be in Rochester at the Carlson in Rochester, New York. Get your asses there. Go to my website. Yeah, go to my website and you can buy tickets. Or I'm sure, I've posted it on Instagram. But it looks like a really great club, the Carlson, Rochester, New York. 50 Carlson Road in Rochester. So I'm excited for that. So that's May 3rd and 4th, so get your asses there. Also, before we start the interview, just a few things happened this week, fascinating things. First of all, bye-bye, OJ. Take care. Enjoy. Hell. But, OJ... I get it. I get it why, there's such a racial divide when it comes to OJ, because I think, he got away with it. And I think a lot of people who are treated like shit, it was like, I think for a lot of African Americans or people of color, this was someone beating the system finally. And I get it. I get the anger. And, I think people have, I watched Trump beat the system. I want to fucking punch his fucking face in. So anyway, sayonara. Also, I wanted to say, fuck tax. I hate taxes. I hate that. I really hate taxes. My father was a tax attorney. My father wrote the tax laws for the state of New Jersey. And I really, I hate paying taxes. I hate it. But I should be happy that I have to pay them because that means I make, shut up. Also, I am really, it was a really tough and anxiety-provoking weekend with what Iran did in Israel. And it was, it shows that Israel can defend itself, did defend itself, and should be able to defend itself. And we had Israel had some unlikely friends. I don't know if I'd use the word friends, but supporters. And it's funny that, a lot of these people who they say, I don't like the term, as you know, pro-Palestinian, because that makes an assumption that people who are Zionists or who believe Israel has a right to exist and defend itself aren't pro-Palestinian, don't want Palestinians to have a decent life, which isn't true. So I'm going to refer to them as the pro-Hamas, the Hamas supporters, the people who defend Hamas. Those people were cheering for Iran. That is how sick people are. Iran, who created these jihadists, who funded Hamas, who hate you, yeah, so people, of course, were really just, I knew it. I knew it was going to happen, that they'd be like, oh, yeah, go Iran. You're just so fucking dumb. So fucking dumb. It's crazy. And I'm hoping that the 7-year-old Israeli Arab girl who got hit by shrapnel survives and is okay. And my heart goes out to her parents and family and her. So, God, it's just fucking bad news all the time. All the time. So, hopefully we'll have some good news when it comes to Trump this week. But anyway, so that's all I have to say right now. I really had fun. You got to get this guy's book, Tristan Snell's book. He's a lawyer, and he prosecuted the Trump University case, which the details are, it's fascinating. You cannot believe what these victims went through. And he's just a great guy, and he's so smart. And get his book, Taking Down Trump. It's great. Anyway, so that's it. Praying for peace and some common sense, and for people to shut the fuck up who don't know what the fuck they're talking about. It's just infuriating. But that's it. That's all I have to say right now. Thank you for tuning in, and sit back, relax, and enjoy part 1 of my interview with the one and only Tristan Snell. Hey, everyone. I am thrilled, excited, beyond. This is one of my least favorite and most favorite topics. And this book is amazing. Taking Down Trump. I don't know if you can see. And I have its author, Tristan Snell, on. And thank you for this book, first of all. Everyone needs to get this book. It specifically talks about, it's the subtitle is The 12 Rules, but the information in here it's mind-boggling. It's sad. I mean, some of it is just fucking sad that we live in this country with that motherfucker. And I'm going to be cursing a lot during this podcast. So everyone, I've been trying to work on my cursing, but I have rage that is beyond. And I think, Tristan, first of all, thank you for being here.
Thank you. Yeah, I will try to help.
Thank you. I mean,
or not. I don't know. I might not be able to. I'll see what I can do.
I have so many questions, and thank you for writing this book. You did successfully take down Trump and prosecute Trump, but not without hurdles that are unbelievable. They're unfucking believable.
Yeah, they are. It's awful.
And the one thing I was like, oh, when do I tell him this? When do I even start with this? But so you, just so everyone knows, you were assigned to the AG's, the Attorney General of New York's Consumer Protection Agency or division.
Yeah.
And your second day there, they give you this Trump University case.
Yeah. And my first impulse was to stifle a laugh, because I was like, you've got to be kidding me. He had a university. I didn't know. I think it had gotten some attention in the media and whatever, but back then I didn't sit around paying attention to whatever Donald Trump was doing. Right. I did not care.
Right.
And I never watched The Apprentice or Celebrity Apprentice.
Same.
It was not my cup of tea. I just, he was a guy that was on TV and in the tabloids all the time. But I just thought it was, I was just like, you got to be kidding me. He had a university. And at first it was we really truly did take, he has painted all of this now as being like, no, these prosecutors are out to get me. It's a political vendetta, blah, blah, blah. The thing is that at no point, I can pretty much guarantee this is true for the AG's office today, but I can definitely tell you that when I was there 10 years ago, At no point were we sitting around being like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to take down that Donald Trump guy.
Right.
Like, we're going to find something on him. No, this came to us because the state education department for the state of New York referred us the matter because they had gotten complaints and had noticed that it's like, he's calling himself a university and he's not legally able to do so.
Right.
And there had been some complaints directly to our office from consumers. And that's why, and we were doing a bigger investigation into for-profit ed, which is a whole other topic we can talk about sometime.
Right.
But that's a whole other beast of its own at a bigger level. But we were actually, Trump U was actually one of 5 schools that we were looking into.
Really?
Yeah,
what were the other 4?
Yeah.
Do you remember the other 4?
One of them was Corinthian, which has now been shut down. And our case was one of the cases that really helped bring them down, that a couple of my colleagues worked on. They did a great job there. The others, I would have to go back and hit up my old colleagues and ask them which ones those were. I can't remember off the top of my head. But
can you tell people, first of all, you were assigned to this consumer protection. What kind of law did you want to practice? What were you?
Oh, I mean, I was very happy. I know I had applied to that particular bureau. I knew that was the vacancy, and I definitely wanted to be there. I long have been somebody who really cared a lot about consumer protection. So for me, I had a notion in my head that I wanted to do some government enforcement work of some kind. And consumer protection was pretty high up there for things that I would have wanted to do. It turns out that if I could have waved a magic wand and I could have gotten whatever job I wanted in a prosecutor's office, I think that probably consumer protection would have been in the top 3. I think number 1 might have been public corruption, though.
I love you. I love you. You're just
that's what I really wanted to do. That's what I really wanted to do. To be honest,
right.
But consumer protection was probably second or third, and it just worked out that I ended up doing consumer protection. Lo and behold, of course, I basically was doing some preemptive and unfortunately not quite sufficient public corruption prosecution indirectly. Sadly, it didn't work. It didn't stop him from getting in. But I think if we have enough. If we have enough shots at him, I think that he is eventually going to get taken down.
There's law and there's karma. Where do you think?
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, I know. This week's episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. Now, I am a huge advocate for therapy. I talk therapy. I like physical therapy too, but I'm talking about talk therapy. I've been in therapy since I'm 18 years old. There is nothing better. Nothing better. And it is a stressful time. We just had an election. It's the holidays, and we're going to have to spend family time or not spend family time. It's a decision you might make in therapy, because therapy is really the best way, the only way to process your feelings, anxiety, depression, everything. I've been doing it for over 40 years. I know what I'm talking about. So if you've been thinking about starting therapy, if you thought about it for years and just didn't do it, please give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online. It's designed to be convenient. It's flexible. It's suited to your schedule. You go to betterhelp.com/JudyGold. You fill out a brief questionnaire. You get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch your therapist at any time for no additional charge. I've done that multiple times in my life, switch therapists. It works. It works. And I know a lot of people who have used BetterHelp, and they love it. So find comfort this December with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/JudyGold today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/JudyGold. You're welcome. Where do you think your sense of justice, of wanting justice, comes from?
That's a good question.
When you were a child, representing
Yeah,
the
I mean, it
victim.
goes
Yeah.
back pretty far.
Yeah.
It goes back pretty far. Like, I would say that I got in that, like, I would say a decent number of like the fights or whatever I would get into as a kid probably had to do with like somebody else that I was actually getting it. That was somebody else was the one who was getting bullied or something like that, and I got involved. And I also think that I was a total like politics and government and law nerd at a
From very
very
young.
early age.
First of all, I needed you to be at my school because the shit I had to put up with. But
Yeah.
what got you into that? What, at such a young age?
I mean, I think that my folks had something to do with it, but I also just think it was some kind of innate thing. I don't know. Like, I definitely had that, like, I have that like super nerd about like rah rah USA government, American history, blah blah blah.
Right.
It's like if anybody's watched Parks and Rec, it's basically like the Leslie Knope thing.
Right,
Like,
right,
I
right.
got that. Like when I first watched that show, I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing.
Yeah.
But it's basically like it's like the characters on that show,
Yeah.
like that. And here's the thing: that's a lot of the people that are in government. It's actually true.
But that's
and why? Because otherwise they wouldn't work in government because it pays shit.
Yeah, it does.
It doesn't pay
Yeah,
well.
but then
So unless you truly care about that, there's some people that are there and they're punching a clock and they're collecting their pension.
Right.
But even they care, even if it's kind of muted and they've just been in it for long enough that they're just there and they've been doing the same job for 30 years. But God bless them, because they really, even those, they do care. People, they really truly care. And the right-wing grifters and fascists want to call that the deep state, because that's the thing that's standing between them and total control of the governmental apparatus, and then carving it up into oligarch-sized chunks that they can hand out to their allied business cronies. Like, that's what the overall grand scheme thing here is. But it's all of the government nerds are the reason why, or a lot of why this hasn't happened yet. It truly is true.
Right.
It really is true.
I feel like we have lost the idea of what a public servant is. Like, I think Biden is a public servant. I think he has always been a public servant.
Yeah, I do.
And there are a lot of people who I feel like Obama was a public servant. I feel like there are some Congress people and elected officials who are public servants. And then there's the fucking assholes. And I don't understand, Tristan, like this idea of oligarchy and fascism, how you grow up in this country and are attracted to that. I don't understand where that comes from. Is that money? I don't get it.
I do think it's sort of tribal grievance. I really feel like we've gotten this sort of like infection that has just run rampant,
right,
in a certain segment of the population, where folks just feel like they're being hard done by, and that somehow the elites have shut them out, but a lot of it is, I actually don't think it's genuine. I think for most of the people that are really like the visible avatars of all this shit, it's not genuine. There's no actual genuine.
Right.
They're using the tribal grievance as a tool to manipulate the base into supporting them.
Right.
The people who are actually visibly doing this are craven, cynical grifters who probably don't believe half the shit they talk about. But they actually have no views of their own, really, except to line their own pockets. And Donald Trump is very much typical of this. Like, he got into office to line his pockets and to satisfy his own ego. It's not because he actually had deep-seated ideological commitments.
Absolutely.
He doesn't.
Anyone who thinks that
is not.
Yeah.
No, but these people do, right? That's the problem, is that these people do, but they've been conned.
Right.
They've been conned. But like, Anne Applebaum writes about this in her book that I'm going to forget now the name of it, but like her really terrific book, it was A Twilight of Democracy. It's something of that. I might be butchering the title.
Right.
But she writes about it specifically with regard to what's been going on in Poland.
Right.
Now, of course, that has started to look a little bit better with Tusk getting into office again, and the pro-democracy coalition managing to like get a majority in the parliament again. And so that's looking better. But she uses Poland and Hungary a little bit as case studies, because that's her area of expertise is Eastern Europe, to talk about how one of the things she talks about that I thought was really resonated for me was that when you have these kind of far right movements, they tend to be like a lightning rod for a lot of like third rate, fourth rate, never was or has been kind of folks to kind of come crawling out of the woodwork and say, now I'll have my chance to get into office.
Right.
And they like come crawling in.
Right.
It's like you've invited like a bunch of termites into the foundation of the country, and all of a sudden they're just like they're eating away at it, and these are people that never would have had a shot
Right.
at power in a normal functioning party system, but once they have their opening, it creates a chance for a lot of these like folks that never would have been able to get that far are suddenly like crawling in there. And she talks about that at a good bit in her book. But I think that that's what we've got going on here. I think we've got a lot of folks that have seen their opening and now they're jumping in. Unfortunately, Trump inspired a bunch of other fraudsters and grifters. That's how we have Lauren Boebert. That's how we have George Santos and Marjorie Taylor Greene. That's where these people, and more of them keep coming up all the time.
Right.
Like, how does a guy like Mike Lawler get into office when his previous claim to fame was that he went to the Michael Jackson trial and got thrown out of the courthouse because he was mocking and harassing one of the victims.
Right.
Like, how do you get from that
right,
to Congress?
Right.
Because Trump made it okay,
Right.
and now he's created this playbook of shameless grifting and a base that you can identify to like go get your little
Right.
tentacles into to go fool these people into giving you money. But these people, George Santos doesn't have a belief.
Oh,
he doesn't care about
not.
all of these. There's nothing there. There's nothing there. He's just in it for Lauren Boebert doesn't have any beliefs except that this was a way for her to escape whatever obscurity she was in and what obscurity she's about to fall back into after her political career ends pretty soon.
Right.
And same for Santos.
Right.
But that's the problem that we've got.
So when you were given this Trump University case,
yep.
You know, it's funny because Eric Schneiderman, this is my Jew bill. I should have sent it for Ann Applebaum too, but whatever. So Eric Schneiderman and I went to the same synagogue, and I remember seeing him, and my neighbor was close friends with him. But anyway, I remember seeing him at synagogue on Rosh Hashanah, and it was 2000. It was 16, I think. He resigned in 17, I think, or 18. So maybe it was 2000.
It was 18.
Yeah, so 2017. And we were walking out together, and I said, "Listen, we got to get rid of Trump." I mean, this is after your thing. I said, "I can't fucking, I can't sleep. I can't, you know." And he's like, "My whole goal in life is to get." That is the one thing I need to do. And I'm reading this book and I'm like, you're in up his sphincter.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, here's the thing. I will give credit where credit's due. We got him to the right outcome.
Right.
Maybe not for the right reasons, but there's a lot of people that even with the work that we did to convince him and even with the missteps that Trump made, they still just would have been like, nope, not going to do it, not going to do it, not going to piss off that powerful person. And look, the good news there was that like we were like, I don't know if it was really what other folks upstairs at the office were trying to do, but I think they managed to channel Schneiderman's ego to a place where it was willing to challenge Trump's ego. But that's really what ended up happening there. And so there you go. And then after the fact, it was like, oh, I was going to do this all the time.
Yeah,
it's
right.
my life's work. It's like, really? Yeah, there's pretty much there. I don't know a single person who worked in that office during those years who would say that. Like that was categorically untrue. Like everybody who was at that office knows that he had to be dragged kicking and screaming
Right.
to do that case up until the very end. And then he was like, fuck them, we're
Right.
going. And like, you know, that's, and then look, once he got there, he got there.
Right.
And he was like,
But it
then
took a while.
And it took a while. It took a whole year plus that we lost, and that made our case weaker, as I talk about in the book, like because we have the statute of limitations issue.
Right.
And the longer we waited, the worse that got. So it was like, ugh. But we got there,
So,
you know?
When you think about businesses that are selling through the roof, sure, you think about a great product, a cool brand, and brilliant marketing. But an often overlooked secret is actually the businesses behind the business, making selling simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. Nobody does selling better than Shopify. They're the home of the #1 checkout on the planet and the not-so-secret Shop Pay that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts going abandoned and way more sales happening. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling, on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout Allbirds and Skims use. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/start selling, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/start selling to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/start selling.
can you describe, so you get this case, you're perplexed by the lack of support you're getting from the AG. Like there are times in the book you're like, wait, what? Like I did all this work. Wait, what are you fucking saying to me? Like, so you'd bring it up, everyone's on the same page, and then you go up to Schneiderman's office and, or someone gives you a message
close to him. I mean, I never met with him face to face while this case was going on.
No way.
Now, by the way, actually, I should have. Why didn't I put that in the book?
I know.
I can't believe it. But here's the thing. Like, that actually does tell you something, because I don't know that that would have been true for every elected in that position.
Right.
Like, I don't think that it would have been, because it's like, wouldn't you want to hear it from the horse's mouth?
Right.
Like, wouldn't you want to go? Like, if I were the AG, I would actually want to talk to the line attorney who was the one really doing the work and find out exactly from him or her, like, what was going on.
Right.
You know, rather than hearing it as a game of telephone through like 4 people. But we never got to meet with Schneiderman. We were meeting with the first deputy AG and or his chief of staff. So you have the first deputy is the one who then runs all the lawyers.
Right.
And then the chief of staff runs the political office, the press people, whatever, the policy people, like those are the political side of the office. So there was usually one or both of those people would be the people that we would go upstairs to meet with. And then we would be told, yeah, we don't think you guys have enough evidence yet.
My
it's just
God.
like, how much more do you think we need? And and then it was Carla, my division chief, who really she was the one who carried it across the goal line upstairs. Like, she was the one who prevailed on all of that. And there were a number of other people that were, there were a lot of other dynamics going on inside the 25th floor, but
it's crazy.
But that's what was going on there. Yeah.
So you take this and you're in your office and you think, I'm going to call. How am I going to get my information? I'm going to call the people who went to fake fucking Trump University. Right. And I'm going to say, you got to talk to tell everyone about those phone calls and how long they lasted and what it fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, it was, each call, some of them were more like 20, 30 minutes, but some of them were like an hour and a half.
No. Oh my God.
Not a joke. And then there were follow-up calls later with each of the people that had agreed to do an affidavit. So then we basically took what they had said to me. I took copious notes, and then I would basically boil that into something where it's like the affidavit format. If any of you have ever seen that, or you are a total junkie about these things and you go looking around on court websites, they have a very standard format. It's like, my name is so and so, and I live in blah blah blah, and this is my statement to the best of my knowledge, blah blah blah. And then you basically tell your story in very plain declarative statements in chronological order is how you want to do it, because you want to make it really, really easy to digest as part of the court record. This happened, then this happened, then this happened, then this happened, then this happened. That is it. And then you sign under penalty of perjury. So it's really just making a more organized statement using their words as much as humanly possible, right? And so I helped them prepare.
Are you allowed to record these?
I didn't. I could have, but I didn't. I just took really good notes.
Wow, you are. I
probably should have. Actually,
yeah.
We didn't. It's not like it was just like, oh, I've got it on my special computer here. I'm going to hit the. It would have been like I'm taking like a crappy old tape recorder and sticking it next to the phone and putting them on speaker. Like we literally had. Do you remember like whatever the telephone was that you would have had on a desk?
Yes, of course.
In about 1988.
Yes.
That's the phone we had. It was a beige push button phone.
Oh my God.
Where the button kind of stuck a little bit. Like you had to push it a little bit. It was a little bit crunchy. The buttons were a little bit crunchy. Yeah, that was what I was on. So I would have had to come up with kind of a weird.
Are you the only one on the call?
What do you mean?
Are other people listen? Or any of your assistants listening? Or any paralegal? Nothing.
No.
Okay, so it's just you.
No.
On a fucking 1980.
No. Oh, what? Oh, sorry. I thought you were talking about now.
No.
I'm actually alone in my studio. No. Oh, I mean, back then, I have a bigger look. I run a law firm now. Okay, we're not that big. We have like a dozen people.
Right.
I have more people helping me now than I did when I was running that case. Oh my God, by like a large number. Like, oh my
Ridiculous.
God. This is really laughable. It's like, oh, my paralegal. Oh, that would have been fancy. No. We didn't have those. Like there were one or two assigned to the bureau that you could get help from occasionally. But I did 99% of the work that I did on this. It was either me or it was I. So one of the little hacks that I did, I talk about this in the book, is that I volunteered to take over leading the Bureau's intern program.
Wow.
Because, I wanted to help out and I wanted to do my part in the office.
Too.
But I also wanted to pick the people.
Right.
And then I wanted to pull them onto my matters, which is exactly what I did. So I made sure that I always had like the best help out of the intern pool because I needed help.
Right.
Because this was like, we had a lot to do and we didn't have a lot of time. There were bursts where we had to do just a lot in a very short amount of time. At that point, when I first got handed the case, nothing. I had no other support.
Wow.
Nobody else had been assigned to it. It was me alone in my office with nothing. And none of there were 3 or 4 assistants for the whole bureau. So there were like 14 attorneys. There were like 3 or 4 assistants, 1 or 2 paralegals, and that's it. And you could get help from some of those people occasionally if you were one of the assistant AGs. But by and large, you were kind of on your own. So,
and this is
and that was generally
case.
true. I mean, that, and the thing is that office, think about what they've done now with this big, I'm still going to call it the $464 million case. I don't care what the frickin' appellate division says. We can talk about that. Yes. But like, I just about lost it on live TV yesterday when they announced that. I was on MSNBC when that news broke. And I was sitting there.
How the
I was sitting there. The main thought in my head was like, apropos of that, the main thought in my head was like, don't curse on live TV, don't curse on live TV. Because I was just like, the steam was coming out of my ears. I was just like, I cannot believe that they freaking did that. But anyhow, the point is
you talk about that Trump has this way. Well, he did. He got these prosecutors in his pocket with promise and elected officials with promises of donations, like this is a division that is fighting consumer fraud, and they are committing fraud in a way by changing letting him manipulate them.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. It's just like we look, we basically had like we effectively had not, the fox wasn't quite in the hen house, but like the fox was giving the chief rooster money, or not, well, literally, because as it's true in the book, and this has been known for a while, but a lot of what I tried to do is to take a lot of things that have long been known,
Right.
but piece them together in the right way, which, by the way, that's what good litigation is too. Is a lot of times you're taking things that actually are already out there and just assembling them in a really good narrative.
And telling a story.
If you can try to get it there, and telling a story. So what I try to do is, like, we've long known about all the things that Trump has done to conveniently time promises of political support or flat out checks that just happen to coincide with the evaporation of investigations by that elected official. It's happened multiple times. I just try to talk about them back to back to back to back, and then say, here's the pattern, or do you see a pattern? Because I certainly do.
Right.
Draw your own conclusions. But yeah, one of the things in there was that Trump's lawyer throughout most of this, up until the point that we finally sued, was this guy, Avi Schick. And I was going to say, yeah, I think you probably were going to ring that bell. Avi was not only Trump's lawyer at the time, but unbeknownst to us, it only came out later, he was actually one of the main people leading Schneiderman's fundraising for his reelect.
That's right.
At the same time. So if we want to talk about, like, the system is rigged, that's what it is. Like, it can get rigged with Democrats too. Like, the corruption can happen there. And, like, that's just it's slimy. It's so slimy. It's so slimy. Like, why? Like, why was that what we were fighting?
Yeah.
So literally you had, so of course the AG was going to pick up Avi's call, because Avi was one of his money guys, helping bundle for him.
And
so, like, of course,
making your job even more difficult. And
we had no, like, the fact that we got this done at all, like, that's what I try to say here, is like, this case should have died like 5 times, like 7 times. Like, it was, like, the fact that we got the case where it went is a freaking miracle, because we really, like, there were so many things that we were working up against. So I do think it's an interesting case study, because we see a lot of different flavors of problem inside, I think, some of these other offices. And I actually, look, I don't think it's been corruption. I think it's been more a species of, I sort of call it kind of political institutional timidity.
Right.
Like, don't piss off the powerful people. Like, let's just keep our head down and just work on getting reelected. Like, and the problem is that if you do that too much, you'll never take on anybody that powerful, and you're not really doing your job.
Right. Thank you so much for listening to part 1 of my interview with Tristan Snell, the author of Taking Down Trump. Isn't he great? He's so great. And more to come. And it's just, I can't believe people get away with this shit. And I can't believe how many shitty people there are in this world. It's just, and they're getting shittier and shittier. I just am loving the word shit right now. I don't know why. But, we'll see what happens this week with Orange Fuckface. Oh, wanted to, of course, do my shout out. The Kill Me Now is produced by Laura Vogel, edited by Colin Schmaling, marketed and scheduled and everything else by Brittany Jo Sowards. Richmond. Come see me in Rochester on May 3rd and 4th at the Carlson Club. Please. It's in a couple weeks. You need to get your asses out and come see live comedy. Funny live comedy. What else do I have to tell you? Nothing really. I want to thank you all for listening. We recorded my new theme song for my new podcast. It's going to be the same. It's going to be my podcast, but we're going to have a new theme song and a new name. Kill Me Now just is not cutting it for these times. And if you Google Kill Me Now, it's like for, people who are wanting to take their own lives. So it's just not, we grow and we evolve. So Kill Me Now is growing and evolving, but it'll still have me, and it's going to be fun and new and funner. Funner. Is that a word? Funner? More fun. That's all. I don't know what else to tell you. I do have upcoming news coming up. Oh, and I'm getting ready for Pesach. So, all the Jews who are getting ready for Passover, I feel your pain. And enjoy your bread this week, because you've got 8 days without it. Unless you don't observe, which is fine with me. Look, to each his own. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's it. Thank you all for listening. If anyone is listening to the end, I love you even more. Please come see me. Go to my website, judygold.com. Follow me on Twitter, not Twitter, X, whatever the fuck it's called. Like, I don't even, it's so annoying. At Judy Gold, JEWDYGOLD, which has even more meaning today when I picked that name years and years ago. And I'm still a proud Jew. And that's the way it will always be. So thank you so much for listening. Have a wonderful week. We'll be back here next week. And as we always say, so long.
This sale season, Ritual is urging you to think about what's essential. Your daily health? Pretty essential. Making sure your products are heavy metal tested, clean label project certified, and sourced through a traceable supply chain? Also essential. So this Black Friday, skip the micro trends and put your savings where they matter. Your health. With 40% off daily essentials like stress relief and Symbiotic Plus for gut support. Head to ritual.com/podcast and shop responsibly.